Today we're going to look at configuring the external speed control for the NSK spindle. This box right here is designed to be an inline speed control for ease of installation. What we basically got is we've got coming from the computer, we've got it coming into the box down here. Look, it says from the PC to this box, and then we've got another cable that goes out to our controller, and then our NSK spindle plugs in here and plugs into the DB25 on this spindle speed controller. And this box also has a relay for a coolant pump, and I'm actually running this box off of a smooth stepper down here. This is my test bench. So it goes from the smooth stepper right here to the PC, then controller down to a 4-axis control box down here with no light. It's kind of hard to see. And I've been working on a trunnion table 5-axis, so that's going to be my test bed for this. And what we need to do to configure it is open up Mach 3, go to config, ports and pins. The very first thing we need to do is open up spindle, enable it, step pin 14, direction pin, I've got 16, but it can be whatever because it's not going to be used. DIR low active is checked, and make sure the step port is 1, direction port is 0. And we're going to go to output signals, and we're going to configure the outputs. Output number 1 is enabled, port 1, pin 1. Output 2 is enabled, port 1, pin 16. Then we're going to go to spindle setup, and we're going to give the relay control output 1, which we just configured. These can be 1 and 1, and the flood mist relay is 2 and 2, and I've got a delay of 5 in here. You don't really need that. Click apply, and then OK. Then we go into motor tuning, go to spindle, steps 1000. This can be just about anything you want. Just make sure it has a value there or the spindle will not run. Save settings, OK. We're gonna get a external e-stop requested. OK. And that is pretty much what we're going to have to do to configure it. If you set up a spindle speed and it gives you a too fast for pulley, go to config. Then we're going to go to spindle pulleys and give it a max RPM 60,000 for spindle 1 or spindle 4, whatever. And in this control box, I'm going to go ahead and remove the top. It's a very simple design. We've got the 2 relays here. We've got a jumper for the charge pump. Some computers have issues with the charge pump. To configure that, we're going to go to config, ports and pins, output signals. Scroll down to the charge pump, make sure it's enabled, port 1, pin 17, and active low is checked. And if you find that you're not getting any response from this box, then take this jumper and move it over. And the other thing that we're going to concentrate on is this little potentiometer right here. We'll get to that in just a second. We're going to click the reset button. And when you turn the spindle on, what we're looking for is a relay to click inside the box. So when I click this, you should see an LED light up and the relay will click. It's a real faint click, but you can actually hear it and see the LEDs light up. Okay, and for the air/coolant, when you click it, you should also hear another relay click. And I've actually got this little motor here plugged into the relay plug for the coolant to verify that it comes on. So now once you get that part set up, turn your spindle on, and we're going to assume that your spindle is already programmed for the auto start. Should be on auto and forward, and when we click the spindle button, the spindle will turn on. Now obviously I've got 10,000 RPM set and I'm showing 4,000 RPM on my spindle. Two ways to configure that is if you go into the motor tuning and play with these numbers, you should be able to get it to tune in. So now we played with those settings just a little bit. You can see that I'm running 6,000. Another thing you can do is grab your trusty little flat tip screwdriver, grab this potentiometer here, and adjust the 1 to 10 volts going to the VFD by rotating it. You should see VFD RPM speed up and slow down. You want to get what matches your spindle speed. So if you're on 5,000, you want to turn it down to where it says 5,000. If you're on 10,000, rotate it up to where it says 10,000. And that's pretty much the basis of configuring this spindle speed control box. One issue I have noticed with the spindle speed control box that a couple people have some issues with is when the spindle relay is lit up green and the air coolant is lit up green, everything is off. The spindle's not running, nor is the coolant pump. And when you turn them on or turn them off, click on them, the spindle actually starts spinning at 1,000 RPM. And if you turn the air coolant off, it actually turns on. The way to solve this problem is if we go into config, ports and pins, output signals, this active low is probably checked. If you uncheck those, be ready for some noise because everything's going to turn on. Or actually I've got them turned off. So now the black bars, it's not lit up green. When you turn it on, everything works. That's how you solve the problems of the buttons being backwards.